students, I Kirti, PGT Commerce from KVS welcome you all to today's session of Business Studies of class 11th. Today in session 1 we will discuss Unit 1 Evolution and Fundamentals of Business. Today we will discuss two subtopics of this unit. First, History of Trade and Commerce in India. Second, Concept and Features of Business. Targeted learning objectives of today's session are: first, you will be able to acquaint the history of trade and commerce in India. Second, to be familiar with different types of hundis in ancient India. Third, to identify the leading trade centers in ancient India. Fourth, to understand the concept of business with special reference to the economic and non-economic activities. Next, to discuss the characteristics of business. So, our first topic is History of Trade and Commerce in India. Students, first of all, let us understand the meaning of trade and commerce, and then we will discuss history of trade and commerce in India. Meaning of trade and commerce. Commerce refers to all those activities which help directly or indirectly in distribution of goods and services to ultimate consumers. Commerce has two components. First, trade. It refers to sale, transfer or exchange of goods, and second one is auxiliary to trade. It includes all those essential services and functions which assist the trade and business. These includes transport and communication, banking and finance, insurance, warehousing and advertising. As shown in the diagram, trade may be internal or external trade. Internal trade means within the country and external trade means with other countries. Wholesale trade means selling in bulk quantities to retailers, and retail trade means selling in small quantities to ultimate consumers. Let us discuss history of trade and commerce in India. Trade and commerce have played a vital role in making India to evolve as major actor in economic world in ancient India. Network of roads merging into Silk Route help in establish commercial contacts with other kingdoms. You have studied about these routes in history of 10th class. The maritime routes linked the east and west by sea and were used for trade of spices and known as spice route. Due to flow of wealth through these routes, India developed as a major trade center. Commercial cities like Harappa and Mohenjo-daro were some examples of the business development of ancient India. You are well aware about these two names. Creation of currency system. Before the hard currency came into existence, the most common form of trade was barter system. Any exchange of goods and services for other goods and services without exchanging any form of money is known as barter system. Bartering has its limitations, which led to the creation of currency systems in the form of coins made of copper, silver and gold. There were different types of coins and weighing practices during that time. As you know that there is always need for finance for trade and commerce, which is generally provided by banks. At that time also there were a banking system known as indigenous banking system. Indigenous banking system is the system of banking that involves individuals who act as banks by providing financial services such as loans and accepting deposits. As economic life progressed, metals began to supplement other commodities as money as a medium of exchange, which in turn accelerated the economic activity. Documents such as hundi and chitti were in use for carrying out transactions in which money passes from hand to hand. In simple words, hundi is a request recorded as a hard copy made by an individual coordinating another to pay a specific cash to an individual named in the offer. Hundi as an instrument of exchange involved a contract which A. warrants the payment of money by the promise or order which is unconditional, B. capable of change through transfer by valid negotiation. Now, let us know the meaning of negotiation. Negotiation is the action or process of transferring legal ownership of a document. Now, we are going to understand the different types of hundis practiced by Indian merchant communities. These were Darshani hundi, means payable at sight, and Muddati hundis, payable after a fixed time. Table showing broader classification of hundi. The following are the types of hundis. Dhani jog, Darshani. It is payable to any person. There is no liability on the person receiving the payment. Next one is Sahajog Darshani, payable to a specific person only. The person receiving payment incurs liability. Next is Farmanjog Darshani, hundi made payable to order. Next is Dekhanhar Darshani, payable to the presenter or bearer. Dhani Jog Muddati, payable over a fixed period to any person. No liability on a person who receives it. Next is Farmanjog Muddati, hundi payable on order following a fixed term. Jokhami Muddati, drawn against dispatched good. If goods lost in transit, the holder bears the cost and drawee carries no liability. Next topic is rise of intermediaries. It comprises commission agents, brokers and distributors both for wholesale and retail goods. For example, there was development of Jagat Seth institution and bankers began to act as trustee. Transport, land and water transport were popular in ancient time. Maritime trade was another important branch of global trade network. Do you know meaning of maritime trade? It is trade through seaways between two countries. Muziris has a long history of international maritime trade. Trading communities. Different trading communities strengthened in ancient India and they dominated trade in different parts of the country. For example, Punjabi and Multani traders in northern region, Bhatts in the state of Gujarat and Rajasthan, Mahajan in western India. Merchant corporations. There were autonomous corporation guides formed to protect the interest of the traders. These corporations organized on formal basis, frames their own rules and code of conduct which even kings were supposed to accept and respect. Students, now we are going to discuss the leading trade centers in ancient India. Major trade centers were Patliputra, Patna in Bihar today, commercial town and major center for exports of stones. Peshawar, city in Pakistan, very popular for export of wool and for the import of horses. Takshila, city in Pakistan. It was a city of financial and commercial banks. Indraprasth, it was a commercial junction on the Royal Road where most routes leading the east, west, south and north converged. Mathura, it was an emporium of trade and people here subsisted on commerce. Varanasi, well-known center for textile industries and became famous for gold, silk, cloth and sandalwood workmanship. Mithila. The traders of Mithila crossed the seas by boats through the Bay of Bengal to the South China Sea and established trading colonies in South China. Ujjain. Clothes were exported from Ujjain to different centers. Surat. It was an emporium of western trade during Mughal period. They were also famous for gold border saris. Kanchi. Today known as Kanchipuram. Chinese used to come here to purchase pearls, glass and rare stones, and they sold gold and silk. Besides these, Madura, Bharuch, Kaveripata and Tamralipati were also major trade centers of ancient India. Students, do you know what were major export and import items? Export are goods and services manufactured or produced in the native country and then sold to other countries. Import are goods or services purchased by one's own country that have been produced in another country. Export items were spices, wheat, sugar, indigo, opium, sesame oil, cotton, parrot, live animals and animal products. Import items were horses, animal products, Chinese silk, linen, wine, gold, silver, copper, etc. Position of Indian subcontinent in world economy. Indian subcontinent presented by map. India in world economy from 1st to 7th centuries. India was estimated to have the largest economy in the world. The country was often referred as Swarn Bhumi and Swarn Deep by many writers and travelers like Megasthenes, Fayan, etc. because of its prosperity. During 18th century, the British Empire began to take roots in India. Thereby, the economic condition of India was slowly changed from being an exporter of processed goods to the exporter of raw materials and buyer of importer goods. Dear student, it was all about history of trade and commerce in India. Now we are going to understand the concept and features of business. Concept of business. Business refers to economic activity which is conducted on regular basis with the motive of earn profit through the production and sale of goods and services and by satisfying human needs in society. Types of human activities. Human activities can be divided in two categories, economic and non-economic activities. Economic activities are performed to earn livelihood, for example, chef cooking in restaurant. Non-economic activity are performed out of love, sentiments, sympathy. The aim of these activity is psychological satisfaction and mental satisfaction. For example, mother cooking food for family. Let us discuss some characteristics of business. First, business is an economic activity. Business is undertaken with an object of earning money or livelihood, but not for love, affection, etc. Example, purchase and sale of article by a shopkeeper. Second feature is profit motive. One of the main purpose of business is to earn profit. Profit is required for survival and growth of business. That is why businessmen make all possible effort to maximize his profit. Students, no business can survive for long without profits. Profits help to meet out even unexpected expenses and to face uncertainties. Third, production or procurement of goods and services. Before goods are offered to people for consumption, these must be procured or produced by business. Therefore, every business should either produce or acquire the goods in which it deals. Goods may consist of capital goods and consumer goods. Example, capital goods, machinery, furniture. Consumer goods, sugar, pen, notebook. So, let us understand what are consumer goods and what are capital goods. Consumer goods are defined as the goods that are used for final consumption. That is, the goods are not used for further processing. On the other hand, capital goods are those goods that are used for future production by the manufacturers rather than by the consumers for final use. Next feature is element of risk. Business risk is caused due to uncertainties. Now, uncertainties refer to the situation of what is going to happen in future. Risks are related with factors like change in consumer taste, theft, strike, change in government policies, etc. Fifth is continuous basis, regular dealing. Business run on regular basis. Business involves dealing of goods and services on regular basis. One or two transactions of purchases or sales therefore does not constitute business. For example, one single transaction of sale of land on profit is not business. But if a person continuously involved in sale and purchase of land, then it is called business. Next is uncertainty of return. No business can predict its future return or profit. Every business invests money to run its activities with the objective of earning profit, but it is not certain as to what amount of profit will be earned, and also there is always a possibility of losses despite the best effort put into the business. Sale or exchange of goods and services. There should be sale or exchange of goods or services between the seller and the buyer goods. Produced for personal consumption is not a business. For example, growing vegetables in kitchen garden for family consumption is not business, but growing vegetables for selling them into market is business. Let us now have a quick recap of what we have learned today. We have discussed history of trade and commerce in India, types of hundis, major trade centers of ancient India, major exports and import items, concept and features of business. Before we conclude the session, it's now time to note down your assignment. First, list the major exports in ancient India. Second, prepare a project report on the development of trade and commerce between 1st and 17th AD. Why is business considered as economic activity, which is not included in auxiliaries to trade? A. Animal husbandry. B. Insurance. C. Transport. D. Warehousing. Fifth, state true or false. Patliputra, major trade center for export of stones. Peshawar, major center of textile industry. Indraprasth, commercial junction on the Royal Road. Varanasi, important exporting center for wool and for the import of horses. With this, we have come to the end of today's session. Thank you very much.